We're later going to talk about what might have landed President Trump in the hospital for an unscheduled visit. And we're going to talk about many of the things, in fact, which would likely have caused stress over the weekend, because quite frankly, it was a very stressful couple of days for Donald Trump. During the second day of the impeachment hearings on Friday with Marie Yovanovitch, close Trump advisor Roger Stone and close Trump ally Roger Stone was found guilty on all 7 counts with which he was charged, and Trump absolutely exploded afterwards. Now, as a reminder, please review my interview with Roger Stone from, I guess it must be about a year and a half ago at this point or longer, where Roger Stone insisted he did nothing wrong, no one did anything wrong. And it turns out he may not have been honest with me during that interview. Check that out, because Roger Stone was found guilty on 7 counts, including lying to Congress, witness tampering, obstruction of justice of the Russia probe into Donald Trump. He is Trump aide and advisor number 6 to be convicted so far. So the immediate question is, how much time might Roger Stone end up doing in prison? The answer on paper is that he could end up with up to 20 years. Although if I had to bet, and I am not a betting man, I would bet that Roger Stone gets nothing close to 20 years. And then, of course, we will talk about pardon possibilities momentarily. Adding to the hijinks of the Stone guilty verdict, there's this other Trump aide named Michael Caputo, who was in the courtroom at the time of the verdict's readout, and he had to be removed from the courtroom because when the verdict was read, he just turned around and turned his back on the jury. Extraordinarily childish. But again, these are the types of people that Donald Trump has around him in a variety of different capacities. And then, of course, Trump exploding on Twitter. And why wouldn't he? If Stone were to turn on Trump, it could be very, very bad for the president. Although there's no indication at this point in time that Stone plans to turn on Trump for the purposes of a lighter sentence. And why would he if he expects or anticipates that he will be pardoned by Donald Trump? But we will get to that. Trump first tweeting, but what about all the people that I want put in jail? Saying, quote, so they now convict Roger Stone of lying and want to jail him for many years to come. Well, what about crooked Hillary, Comey, Strzok, Page, McCabe, Brennan, Clapper, Shifty Schiff, Orr, and Nellie, Steele, and all of the others, including even Mueller himself? Didn't they lie a double standard like never seen before in the history of our country? Understand that the president of the United States is publicly saying he wants to put the legally appointed special counsel who investigated him in prison. Trump believes, on the one hand, I guess, that Mueller wrote a report that completely exonerates him. Remember, Trump went around the country claiming that Robert Mueller completely exonerated him. But then he also wants the person who supposedly exonerated him imprisoned. Authoritarian on one hand, but also completely incoherent on the other hand. And then, of course, you're still talking about Hillary, Donald. Seriously. And notably, it's important that Trump doesn't actually say in the tweets, Stone is innocent, Stone is not guilty, Stone might be innocent. He merely says, if you convict Roger Stone for this, then you should really convict all of these other people that I don't like. It's brazen, authoritarian whataboutism. Now, let's discuss the pardon. That's the other topic here that deserves some attention, although it probably deserves its own exploration in a topic in and of itself. As usual, the White House is not even entertaining the idea that Donald Trump may have signaled in any direct or even indirect way that any pardons would be incoming for anybody who keeps their mouth shut. Now, we do have, when it came to Paul Manafort, there were allegations that the possibility of a pardon had been intimated through a number of different channels. I don't have anything specifically about Roger Stone here, but we do know that if you keep your mouth shut and you don't turn on Trump and you don't turn into someone who could potentially put Trump in a precarious position, you may be rewarded with a pardon. When it is all said and done, I hope that Robert Mueller truly, deeply, just sincerely regrets not subpoenaing Donald Trump and at least trying to force him to show up in person, because he didn't do it And Mueller is still getting crushed by Trump. What was the big advantage again to not bringing Trump in? I guess it was that Mueller said, well, the policy of the Justice Department is not to prosecute sitting presidents, so we decided not even to subpoena Donald Trump. Arguably the weakest decision of Mueller's entire investigation, maybe of his entire career, because in the end, he didn't do it. He let Trump off in the weakest possible way. And Trump is still saying publicly, what about imprisoning Robert Mueller? Pardon, we will see. Roger Stone's sentencing not scheduled until, I believe it's in the first week of February. And when that time comes, we will see what the guy ends up with. I think it will be far, far short of the 20-year maximum that he could hypothetically be sentenced to. Let me know what you think about the likely sentencing for Roger Stone.